Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an airline pilot, and welcome to our first long-haul flight in the Horizon 787-9 on VATSIM and Flight Simulator 2024. Today we're departing Minneapolis bound for Frankfurt on the Lufthansa Flight 483, one of the last Minneapolis sectors that Lufthansa is actually going to operate this season before they hand that flight over to their holiday carrier, Discover Airlines. So, with that, let's get right into it, and let's get right into our flight planning, respectively checking of the flight plan. But for that, the first thing we'll do is to actually head inside so that we can enjoy a little bit of silence over here. So we start by reviewing our flight plan, and this is going to be our route of flight. So we're departing Minneapolis, then we're heading across Canada, and you can already see that we've got our first ETOPS section over here. Then past a little bit of a non-ETOPS flight based on Goose Bay up here, then across Greenland and over into the Iceland FIR, and from there across Scotland and the Netherlands into Germany. If we look into the significant weather chart, we can see a little bit of weather in the Minneapolis area, but this is mostly icing. Crossing a jet stream on our way out, but we have a rather high initial cruising altitude, so this is probably not going to be much of a concern for us. And then going into the Atlantic crossing, we can see a little bit of low-level stuff going on across the eastern part of the North Atlantic, until we eventually get over to Frankfurt. So it should be a fairly smooth flight all along the way. If we look into the airport weather, we can see that Minneapolis itself has excellent weather conditions today, and, well, a little rain in the forecast, not much of a problem for us. And then heading over to Frankfurt tomorrow morning, we do have some easterly winds, so it might be runway 07 tomorrow on our arrival, and some scattered clouds here, so overall fairly good weather conditions. So overall, very good conditions over in Frankfurt. And then at our alternate airport in Frankfurt-Hahn, we can see that tomorrow there are some chances that the weather could actually not be that good. So I am going to change the alternate. And we can see from the other alternates, Stuttgart over here is actually fairly good. So weather over there is pretty much perfect. So if we now go into the OFP, we can see that an on-time departure results in an on-time arrival. We are flying a random route today, so no North Atlantic track that we are crossing. And we have a lot of margin on both the takeoff weight and the landing weight. Now, if we scroll down a little bit, we said that we want to change our alternate into Stuttgart. And we can see over here it requires 1,000 kilos of extra fuel. So going down here, we can say that our minimum off block is 46.1, plus those 1,000 kilos from Stuttgart makes it 47.1. So now the question is, do we need anything extra? And the answer to that is probably not, because chances are we are just going to make it to Frankfurt without any disruptions. Random route, so no North Atlantic track that might force us to fly a little bit faster or lower or off route or whatever. So I'm fairly happy just to go with the minimum fuel here. So that's 47.1. Let's make that 47.5 just so that we have enough coverage for our APU. Okay, cool. So that's everything we need over here. With that out of our mind, let's head right into the flight deck, take a seat on the captain's seat of our Boeing 787, and then we can start right down here with our flight setup. So we'll go into the settings, weight and balance, and set the data from the OFP, and then we can change our fuel once everything is set. So completed. So fuel will be 47,500. What's that doing? 47,500. Alright, and that's pretty much it. Very good, so then let's start with our safety inspection. And we have the transponder off, the weather radar off, the fuel control levers cut off, thrust levers idle, landing gear lever down, wipers are off. And then we are powered on the APU. I will ensure that the packs are running as well, so that we can get some air conditioning going here. Then the IRSs are coming on, and Hydraulic quantities are good, APU oil quantity is good, liquid cooling is good, oxygen is good, and the engine oil quantity is good as well. Couple of messages over here that we can click away. That's looking good for me as well. And then a quick recall, and we'll quickly go over everything here. We do have a cabin temperature message. Yeah, because it's 9 degrees. That's gonna increase since we just turned on the packs. The rest down here is pretty much as expected. Alright, very good. So that's everything checked up here. Then we can head right down into our FMS in order to prepare our plane for today's service. So we'll start on the ident page, 7879 GNX engine. The nav database is up to date. The operating systems of the FMS are up to date as well. Then for the position in it, we take the GPS position, route, request, and while that's ongoing, we can start to search for a couple of our charts already. So Minneapolis over here, and we'll grab the ground chart, and then we also need the parking stand charts. It's probably going to be the Terminal 1 over here, but let's have a quick look. Yeah, that's our one. Golf 13 is where we're parking. Okay, wonderful. So then we only need the departures. Runway 4 is active today, and it's going to be the Minneapolis 9 departure. We'll take the SID PT as well, and with that our charts are prepared. Then we also need our SimBrief dispatch in order to get the flight plan, and we can load our flight plan down here in the meantime. So here we are. Then let's go ahead and have a look. Minneapolis to Frankfurt, Lufthansa 483. We can execute that. Now for the departures, runway 4, and we've got the MSP 9. Execute, and then arrivals, Frankfurt. And for the time being, they are using 25 over there. So let's just go ahead and enter the ILS approach runway 25 left. We're coming in via DIGSAT, so it's going to be the DIGSAT 1 Alpha and the Delta Fox 626 transition. Execute that. And then route, next page, let's go ahead and have a look. So we fly via Delta Lima Hotel, Aglin, then 53 north, 80 degrees west, 56.5 degrees north, 70 degrees west. We gotta check that waypoint here in a few moments. Then we proceed via lakes towards Toxid, 60 north, 50 west. Then we've got 60.5 north, 40 west, 60 north, 30 west, 59 north, 20 west, direct Gomuk, direct Ginja, direct Tala, and then November 97 Natep, Mike 981 Godas, direct Sierra Papa Yankee, direct Sokpo, direct Dixat, and that's looking good. So 3,903 miles versus 3,901 mile, looking excellent. Very good. So then on to the second page, wind data request. And let's just wait a moment here until the wind arrives. Here it is, load. Very good. And then on the VNAV page we can load the climb forecast down here, and we should also have a descent forecast. Load that one as well. So for the fixed page we'll use KMSP, and that's with a 25-mile ring down here, and well, that's it already. VNAV page, transition altitude 18,000 is correct for the United States. And then heading on to the performance pages. So reserves, we have 1.6 plus 2, so that's 3.6. The zero fuel weight is not known yet. Flight level 370 is accurate. Cost index, let's see what we got, 30. Fuel temperature minus 37 is correct. Cruise CG will be somewhere about 25. Step size 2000, but we will define the steps manually anyway. Then onto the takeoff page, acceleration and reduction will be in 1000 feet each. And the reference temperature is 9 degrees. We don't need to enter any of the rest over here. Well, and that's our initial FMS setup completed. So we leave the captain's side on performance, the first officer's side on the active route page 1, and that's it. Wonderful. So getting up to our pre-flight procedure, IRS is on. We basically check all the position of the switches up here. Not all that much to do, if I'm totally honest. This is just standard Boeing stuff. So, now things get a little bit more interesting. We need our QNH. For that, let's go right over here. Let's see, new messages. No new messages. Okay. So, ATIS request, and we do want KMSP. And I think they only have a single ATIS here for everything. Let's select en route. This ATIS is not available. Okay, cancel. Then let's try one more time. See if they have a departure ATIS here. Perhaps they have, perhaps they don't. Would be nice if they did. Here we go. That's what we're looking for. So, Minneapolis information, Victor, 050 at 8 knots, 10 miles, overcast 95, 9 degrees, altimeter 3022. So that's 3022 set over here. We'll do the rest in a few moments. Okay, and everything's set. Then let's go over into the checklists, reset all. And is there anything else? Not really. Okay. So then down here I would like to change this into inches now, but it doesn't let me, so 1023. Good enough with me. If you need the QNH in hectopascals and you don't have the ability just to change the setting on your EFIS CP up here, there's always a little trick that you can use in the US. That's any ATIS, as well as any META, should have this sea level pressure information on it. So it would read something like SLP. Let's actually see if I can show you this. Okay, MSP down here, and we want the surface actual sent. Let's see what's going to come in return. Here we go. So if you look over here, remark A02 shows you that it's an automatically created weather message, and SLP 237 means sea level pressure 1023.7 hectopascals. In other words, you can just dial in 1023 and that's all you need. Easy, isn't it? Okay, so continuing down here, everything is set, and then we get right down to our radio panels already. So we need 1 to 1.5 in radio number 2. Then we can tune 1 to 2.8 in number 1 standby, and then we'll have the active ATC in the active one later. Okay, and that's our flight deck setup completed down here. So one more thing that we need to check for our flight, and that's the North Atlantic waypoint. That's something we need to do for any North Atlantic crossing, and we can see already that we have a couple of half-degree waypoints here as well. So we start with 53 north, 80 west. So we take that waypoint, copy, index, nav data, insert, and now it should... Yeah, you are in the database because you are in my flight plan, my friend. So that's a bug. That should tell me the waypoint up there. There is another way we can do this. That's by checking the tracks and distances. So that's what we'll do then. So from Aglan to 53 north, 80 west, it's a track of 052, 458 miles. And looking over here, from Aglan to 53 north, 80 west, the track should be 048, 458 miles, so that is correct. 4 degrees of departure is completely normal. Then we should go to 56.5 north, 70 west. That should be a track 057, 405 miles. And we've got 067 in here. Wait a moment. That 054 versus 067? Now that doesn't match. Well, let's try something. So I would turn heading reference to true right now, because the flight plan should be in degrees true, which, while the FMS is in magnetic. In any case, the distance matches, so in the real world I would not be happy with this. For flight simulation purposes I am. Then to lakes should be 064, 236, and yeah, you can see 084 here. The magnetic variation is up to 20 degrees in this area, but the distance matches. Then you have Toxit, 175 miles, that's okay. Then on to 60 degrees north, 50 west, 251 miles with a 072 heading. That's, yeah. The heading would not be acceptable in the real world here, but we know where it comes from, so I'm fine with it. Then we continue to 60.5 north, 40 west, 299. You will notice that it calls it 61 north over here. In the real world, that would be a no-go, but I'm fairly sure that the simulator simply rounds it. So if you've got a half north, it rounds it up to 61. That's a bug, but yeah, we can kind of follow up on it. Then we continue to 60 degrees north, 30 west, 091, 299 miles. Then we continue to 59 north, 20 west, 096, 310 miles. And then on towards Gomob, 106, 340 miles. So yeah, the tracks aren't exactly correct, but the distances are. So in the real world, that would not be acceptable. In the sim, I'll take it. All right. Well then, so that is our initial setup of the aircraft completed. We have also gotten our PDC via private message already. So let's have a quick look. Lufthansa 483, equipment 7879 from Minneapolis to Frankfurt. And let's see, altitude, flight level 370, which is what we've planned. Then squawk 1640. Into here. Remarks, cleared Minneapolis 9 departure, climb by a sit, accept, maintain 7,000 feet. Set, expect 370 for 10 minutes after departure, departure 13547. Expect runway 4, contact 13547 for push. Oh, come on. 135.47. Why doesn't it want to take this? Does it really need 475? Silly bug. Okay, anyway. So that's everything we need entered. Then let's go ahead with our departure briefing. Okay, so, what are we going to do today? We depart Minneapolis off runway 4 via the Minneapolis 9 departure. Initial to 7,000 feet. Then let's see about the MSA on this one. So we're going to the north via runway 4 over here, 3,500. Initial to 7,000, that comes from air traffic control, and that's pretty much it. Extra fuel? Not really any. Okay, perfect, thank you. So we have no hotspots for our taxi routing, however it's an airport that we are really not familiar with. So, one runway crossing of, what's that, 30 left. We're parking up here on the Golf Concourse. Taxi most likely via Bravo onto Alpha somehow, and then I guess Charlie. And here to runway 4, and we'll plan for the intersection. So, intersection Sierra up there. Well, apart from that, engine out routing, straight at 25 miles, climbing 4,000, which keeps us safe above the MSA, and if you need to make an immediate return, Mini has a good runway, and we have really nothing to complain about. Overweight. So if time is available, we do the overweight landing procedure, and if not, then we'll just land straight away. We have like 3.6 kilometers of runway available here, so really not much of a problem. I have nothing special or non-standard over here, and that's really it. Any questions? No? Beautiful. So, pre-flight checklist. Pre-flight checklist complete. Alright, so by now our boarding should be completed, so flight should be initialized. Then we can go for the doors, and we can close the one left. Then let's also go ahead and remove the jetway already. So let's see. And yep, it is removing. Excellent. Okay, so on to the performance. Minneapolis runway 04. It doesn't let me calculate an intersection here, but that's fine. For the wind, I am going to use wind calm. Thrust rating optimum, flaps optimum, anti-ice off, and then let's see about our weights. So, zero fuel 162.6 is currently on board, which makes it a gross weight of 210.1. So, let's say 210 tons takeoff weight. Zero fuel is 162, what do we say? 200, I think. No, 162,600. That's fine. Alright, and a CG at 25. Alright, good. Calculate. And here we go. D-takeoff 1, 17 degrees. Yeah, you can give me full D1, please. I'm not gonna go for 17 degrees flex. Okay, and center output. So, takeoff data uplink, thank you. Accept, back to the limit. So it should be D-takeoff 1 and climb 1. That's good enough for me. Speeds deleted due to change in takeoff conditions. Yeah, okay. We accept the references here. So, CG22, which is a trim of 6.25 units. That's close enough for me. Well, and with all of that done, ground from flight deck. Yeah, hello. So, please confirm. Doors and hatches closed, ground equipment removed, bypass pin is installed. All confirmed, Captain. Alright, thanks. We call you back for push. So, before start procedure. LNAV VNAV heading 045. So, trim 6.25 units. Like this. Before start checklist down to the line, please. Passenger signs. On MCP. V2 heading 045, altitude 7000. Takeoff speeds V1 149, VR 153, V2 160. CDU pre-flight completed. Taxi and takeoff briefing completed. Before start checklist completed, down to beacon. Alright then, let's call ATC for a pushback. Minneapolis, good afternoon. Lufthansa 483 Heavy, Golf 13, request pushback.
Lufthansa 483 Heavy, Minneapolis departure, good morning. Push under Bravo is approved. We're expecting runway 4.
Push under Bravo approved, expect runway 4, Lufthansa 483. Okay, before start checklist complete. So, ground flight. So, pushback approved on to Bravo. And Bravo is the inner one, as we can see on the chart. Okay, so that's got to be this one over here. Alright, so pushback on to Bravo. And release parking brakes, please.
At Minneapolis, Endeavour 4724, request taxi.
So, brake release, start on the push, and you're clear to start the engines at your discretion.
4 at Sierra, taxi.
Thank you very much.
Quebec, Charlie, Sierra, cross runway 12 right in.
So, off we go.
Endeavour 4724,
Bravo's the
taxi,
inner
runway
taxiway,
4.
And I'm really happy to say that our pushback tool, better pushback, works a lot better with the 787 than it does with those native 2024 aircraft. I guess it's a good thing that Horizon went for the 2020 787 here as a base for the Dash 9 instead of the 2024 787. Alright. So, ground flight, we are ready to start the engines in both at the same time. Roger, clear to start the engines. Thanks, starting 1 and 2. Okay, push completed, set brakes. Brake set, and you can remove the tug tow bar bypass pin and advise when clear, please. Alright, we have 2 good engine starts, clear to disconnect. Show me the pin on the right side, please. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye. That sounds a little bit strange here. So, flight control check. Full up. Full down. Neutral. Full left. Full right. Neutral. Rudder. Full left. Full right. Neutral. V4 taxi checklist, please. So let's assume that the clear signal is seen on the ice. Auto, recall, checked, flight controls, checked, ground equipment, clear, APU off, B4 taxi checklist complete. Lufthansa 483, request taxi.
Lufthansa 483, are you able to take runway 4 at Sierra, or do you need full length?
We're able, Sierra, Lufthansa 483.
Lufthansa 483, runway 4 at Sierra, taxi via Alpha, Charlie, Sierra, cross runway 12 right at Charlie.
Lufthansa 483 takes the holding point runway 4 at Sierra via Alpha Charlie Sierra, cross 12 right at Charlie. Alright. So, lights on, clear right side, clear left side. The brake is released. Then, let's go. So, we taxi via Alpha, Charlie and Sierra. So that is a swing over here. So we'll go straight for the initial bit and then left swing over onto Alpha. Then Charlie, crossing 12 right at Charlie is approved, and all the way down to Sierra. I really have to say, Minneapolis looks fantastic. Scenery is by Flightbeam, and they just do an amazing job on anything they work on. They really do. And their passion really shows on every single airport. Absolutely worth the money. Okay, so we'll turn to the left over here. And then we transition into Alpha. So clear left side, clear right side, and then we'll go straight on Alpha over here. So, a little CRJ in the front there. Probably gonna depart ahead of us. We won't have much problems with his wake turbulence. The other way around, though, might be a bit problematic. So, the CRJ is on Charlie. We can basically just follow him. Should be the second taxiway on our left-hand side. The last one before the runway, basically. So, approaching Delta over here, then Charlie is going to be next to the left. Everything on the right-hand side is clear. Yep, that's Charlie over here, and we're clear to cross in Charlie. Strobes coming on, and the approach area is clear.
Good morning. Northwest 563 is at stand Gulf 17, and we were ready for push and start with information. Northwest 553, Minneapolis.
With information. Nice guy.
Bravo's approved and just confirm your squawk 6733.
Okay, clear left side as well. And clear right side, crossing.
6733, push on to Bravo approved, Northwest 563. Northwest 563, expect runway 4. Runway 4, roger, Northwest 563.
Northwest, haven't heard that in a while.
They're 4724.
Okay, so
heading 09.
let's review the departure briefing here. It's a left seat takeoff of runway 4, flaps 5, noise abatement procedure number 2. Takeoff speeds will be 149, 153, 160, and the sit is basically on the runway heading via radar vectors from air traffic control. Apart from that, we have no specials, nothing non-standard, and engine out straight at 25 miles, MSA 3.5, so we are gonna climb to 4,000, and that's it. Any questions, comments, or concerns? No? Beautiful. So, the CRJ is lining up. We're probably gonna go right behind him. Clear towards intersection Sierra, that should be all the way straight to the end. Yeah. Basically before the taxiway make that little nick in the front over there. And here comes the CRJ. So, Sierra is approaching up next.
Down to 483 heavy, fly runway heading, runway 4 at Sierra, cleared for takeoff.
Lufthansa 483 heavy, fly runway heading, runway 4 at Sierra, cleared for takeoff. Okay, so, we are cleared for takeoff. Coming through, prepare for departure. And before takeoff checklist, please. Oh, look at that. It actually calculated flap 10 takeoff. So, is that flaps 10?
Endeavour 4724 passing 2,200.
See, that's why we're doing this thing.
Endeavour 4724.
So, before takeoff checklist complete. See, that's how these little things can happen. Using 5 basically all the time. And then you get a 10 takeoff, and well, that's what we've got those checklists for. Nah, I don't like that hard.
4724, turn right heading 110.
Right, turn heading 110, Endeavour 4724.
Okay, takeoff. Stabilized. Set takeoff thrust. Thrust set. 80 knots. Checked.
Northwest 563 is ready to taxi runway 4.
Rotate.
Northwest 553, runway 4 Sierra, taxi via Alpha, Charlie, Sierra, press runway 12 right at Charlie.
Positive climb. Gear up.
Alpha Charlie, Sierra, crossing 12 right at Charlie,
Select heading, select.
Sierra for 4 American, sorry, Northwest 553.
Heading select.
43 heavy, radar contact, altitude.
Lufthansa 483 heavy, passing 1,800.
Lufthansa 43 heavy, turn left heading 020, climb maintain 17,000.
Turn left heading 020, climb maintain 17,000, Lufthansa 483.
Endeavour 4724, ATC direct
So,
doctor.
set. 17,000
Direct to
checked.
Doctor, Endeavour 4724, it's chased.
Flaps 5. Speed checked. Flaps 5. Flaps 1. Speed checked. Flaps 1. Flaps up. Speed checked. Flaps up. And after takeoff checklist. After takeoff checklist complete. Okay, beautiful. I just absolutely like the way the 787 hand flies. But for now, autopilot on. So, Duluth VOR is basically straight ahead.
4 radar contact lost.
So we're on climb thrust, so the timer can go. Well, beautiful. And with that, we're up and on the way. And listening to ATC, it sounds like they just lost radar contact on the other guy. But well, they will eventually regain it. Or not. But in that case, we'll read about it in the news tomorrow. Well, we do have internet. We're probably going to read about it in the news once the internet turns on above 10,000. But hey, you can't have it all, can you? So, the tailwind already starts picking up. That's exactly what I want to see. And then we're close to 10,000 feet. Since we're in the US, we're going to keep the lights on. So, 10,000 landing lights stay on. I'm going to turn the turn off and the nav lights off. And once the pitch is below 7.5, so basically now we'll also release our guests. Well, and from here on, things are gonna turn a little bit more boring. But let's ask the question of all questions. 0417. The schedule is 0420 if I'm not mistaken. .0430. Perfect. So we are running absolutely on time. 9.1 tons on arrival. That is perfect as well. Little thing for us
Endeavour 4724, sorry,
to
we had
do
a
here,
connection
we
issue. We're back
could
with you,
already
climbing,
enter some
170,000.
step climbs. So 390 overhead lakes.
24, no problem, we'll go back.
So 390 over here, and then 410 overhead Ginger. Like this. Perfect. So, they want us to cross the Atlantic at Mach point 84. Let's see if the plane supports that. So, starting at Lakes. 84. And indeed it works. Wonderful. And then from Ginger on, we'll go back to Ecom. Oh, looks like it doesn't support that. Nope, it doesn't. Okay. That's fine. We'll do that manually then. Fair enough with me. So, for some reason we have also deleted.
43 Heavy, you are leaving my airspace. Center is offline. Radar service is terminated. Frequency change approved. So long.
Lufthansa 483 Happy. Frequency change approved. Thank you very much. See you next time.
You bet. Yeah.
Okay, so we continue our climb here. Say 250 at first. Then let's fly direct to Duluth VOR. Invalid lag selection. Interesting. Let's try that again. Duluth. That looks better. So, LNAV available. LNAV. And with that, off we are.
Fly left.
So, 122.8 for us, and with that we're basically on the way. So, a couple of things that I'm gonna do here. First of all, re-enter that step climb over at Ginger, 410, here it is. And then onto the fixed page, MSP, and we'll draw a 410-mile range around this for the first ETOPS part. Then we got the second one, that's going to be around Charlie Yankee Yankee Romeo. And you're also going to get 410 miles. And the same, last but not least, for Keflavik as well. Like this. And then, in order to determine our equal time points, we can put in a couple more rings. So, the first ETP is based on 705 miles of Minneapolis. And 709 miles of Goose Bay, and then the second one is based off 672 miles from Goose Bay. But I'm not gonna enter that just yet because it might be confusing with the first ETP. Alright, so with that we have pretty much entered and checked everything. So optimum 365, maximum 394, we're climbing at 370. Step climb in about 2.5 hours. Looks pretty good to me. On time arrival. Oh, look at how the arrival time and fuel changed here. That's not good. That probably happened when we entered the Mach point 84. Tell you what, let's do 85 then. Is that gonna help? For some reason that always deletes my step climbs. So now it's 0400 at 2.2. No, that did not help. Okay. Well, then we make it 8.4. The fuel is good anyway, so... we'll just leave it at that. That's fine with me. Alright then. That's everything entered. Then set standard. And standard is cross-check, passing flight level 211 now. So, the checklist is already complete. Well done. Sit back, relax, and enjoy our Atlantic crossing, and then I see you when the sun rises again for our arrival into Frankfurt.
London, hello, identified. Get Dixat 1 Alpha, arrival via star, descent flight level 100.
Dixat 1 Alpha via star, descent level 100, Lufthansa Voigttrieb. So that's flight level 100 set, and as you have undoubtedly heard, we are now on the approach into Frankfurt. So let's go ahead and start working on a little bit of the arrival here to get you guys into the loop. So we'll start with a little flight plan review and the uplink ATIS request, and that's the latest Frankfurt arrival ATIS here. We're using runway 25 at the moment, and the wind is from 240 at 4, so pretty much easy conditions. Some showers in the vicinity, so some rain is to be expected. The temperature 13 degrees, QNH 1015, which I have already pre-selected. So overall, pretty easy weather conditions for the arrival. As you have just heard from ATC, we are following the Dixat 1 Alpha arrival, and the transition level for this one is going to be 60, so let's go ahead and enter that to get rid of that altimeter setting warning down there. Now on some occasions, I really don't know what my plane is doing here, why it's increasing the target speed. Perhaps we should just, you know, force it down on a nice speed like this. Okay, apart from that, we do have the forecast page filled in. We can ignore the descent page down here as we are not going to use VNAV for this one. Apart from that, we've got Echo Delta Delta Foxtrot, and that one gets a 25-mile ring around here. And we are landing with 3.8 tons of fuel, that means minus 1,000. But I tell you what, let's just use the present speed here for our approach calculations. Minimum's 570 for the ILS 25 left, and that's pretty much everything we need for our approach preparation over here. Apart from that, as you guys can see, wonderful early morning. The light just looks absolutely fantastic, and seeing that 787 under these conditions here is just awesome. Really, really awesome. So, I will ask our traffic controller if we can maintain high speed here for the time being, or if they want us to reduce that at level 100.
Sorry, again for the Lufthansa 225.
ILS runway 25 left.
Cleared ILS 25 left, Lufthansa 225.
9 right heading 065, descent 4,000 feet, QNH 1015.
So for the time being, maintaining 320. When they clear us lower, then I'll ask them what they want us to do with the speed.
6,000 feet. 5,000 feet.
Okay, so with all of that out of the way, let's just ensure that we have a couple of charts prepared.
Left heading 100, descent to 4,000, QNH 1015, expect 25 left.
Lufthansa 483, left heading 100, descent 4,000, QNH 1015, and can we maintain high speed? Roger, maintaining high speed, Lufthansa 483. Okay, heading select vertical speeds, 4,000 is checked, passing level 100, maintaining the high speeds. Signs are on, and that's it. Okay, set QNH. QNH 1015 is cross-checked, passing 9,700 now. Checked. Okay then, descent and approach checklists. Actually, let's do the briefing first, just so that you guys are in the proper loop here. Okay, so we'll fly a radarback.ILS approach, runway 25 left, the minimum 570, MSA 4,200. In case of go-around, straight at left-hand turn and climbing with 5,000 feet. Extra fuel and time, we don't have all that much, arriving with, that's 3.9 in the tanks.
Left by 10 degrees.
Left by 10, Lufthansa 483, and the reserves are 3.6. So we're arriving with about 5 minutes extra. Okay then, so let's go for the arrival itself. That will be flight director guided ILS approach onto 25 left, with a chance for a swing over onto 25 center depending on the visibility. It seems kinda okay on the final here, but we gotta keep an eye on that rain shower over here. If that moves into the field, then we can forget about the visual. That's no longer gonna work there. Okay, Apart from that, flaps 30 landing, auto brakes 3, vacate the runway to the right hand side in either case, and we do not have anything non-standard, we do not have anything special, so that's really it. Any questions? Nope. Beautiful. In terms of threats, bits of terrain in the area. We'll turn terrain display on your side. Or on the other end side, I tell you what, the weather is more important here, so we'll stay on the weather. We know that anything above 4,000 is going to keep us safe. The MSA is 4.2, but they can radar vector us lower over here, we know that as well. Okay, and that's it.
18780, Lufthansa 225. Thank you, bye-bye.
I'm not sure at the moment if they might just send us direct to any one of those waypoints over here. Lufthansa 483, left 080. Okay, heading 080. Yeah, I tell you what, extend the center line. So, from 620. So, it's going to be 246 degrees. And execute. Huh, look at that, it just sequenced the entire arrival. Okay, we had that one in the past. When I tried to fix it, it led to crash to desktop, so I'm not gonna touch that. We have the ILS tuned, we are receiving the ILS, that's all I need to know. Okay, we're approaching 5,000, so it's time to reduce our speed here. Let's do 250. And level change. Okay, now, descent and approach checklists. So, recall. It's checked, auto brake, level 3. Landing data, 030-142, minimum Sparrow 570, approach briefing completed, descent checklist complete, approach checklist, altimeters, QNH 1015, approach checklist completed. Okay, thrust to idle please. Otherwise this is taking a little long.
heading 220, clear that is 25 left.
So preceding is turning base about 8 miles ahead. Looks pretty good for us.
On the 483, descend 4,000, QNH 1015.
Lufthansa 483, we are descending 4,000 on 1015. We're just reducing our speed right now. I had to add that because the controller probably assumed that we leveled off in 6,000, therefore gave us the instruction again. Technically speaking, if the controller assumes that, he would have to file a report for a violation of ATC instructions. But obviously, since we were descending to 4,000 and reducing speed, I'm just telling him that way both people involved know what's going on, and that way nobody has to do any paperwork. Man, look at this. Quite beautiful, isn't it? 1,000 to go.
Just confirm 170, greater than 5.
170,
So the 483, right heading 160, speed 220.
Right heading 160, speed 220, Lufthansa 483. Heading 160, speed 220. Let's make it 221. That way we don't need to extend the flaps.
Wieder 9er, contact tower 118780, tschüss.
11880.
So 11878 will be our next frequency as well. That's the tower. Alt. So 17 miles, 220 knots, that's pretty good.
Call you back. So the 483, right heading 220, clear that is 25 left.
Right heading 220, cleared LS 25 left, Lufthansa 483.
So, 2 Charlie Tango, cleared impact 5 Bravo,
So, heading 220, cleared approach.
Flight level 100.
And then I'd say let's have a little bit of fun here.
Can you repeat the cylinder?
Flight level 100.
So, flight director,
Flight level 100, Lufthansa 2 Charlie Tango.
and manual thrust.
Lufthansa 7901 passing 4,500.
So 7901, London good identified, climb via set to flight level 110.
Localizer capture.
0791.
Frankfurt departure, Foxtrot Alfa Romeo, very good day. We are passing 2,500 to 5,000.
Foxtrot Alfa Romeo, London good identified. I call you back. Von 483, please.
Thanks.
Lufthansa 483, speed 220.
2 Fox Romeo, correction, 2 Fox Lima, descent 4,000 feet, QNH 1015, cleared LS 25 left. So 2 Fox Lima, descent 4,000, QNH 1015, cleared LS 25 left.
Descent 4,000, QNH 1017.
So, looks like a typical Frankfurt arrival. Things will get interesting if we intercept the flight at 220 knots.
1015, Lufthansa 430 knots.
Canada 7 Mike Roman, descent flight level 70.
So, field is inside.
Flight level 70, Air Canada 7 Micro.
Corner 4087, climb flight level 130.
Climbing 130, corner 40.
Okay, we gotta start reducing now. Lufthansa 483, we need to reduce speed now.
Advisory, tschüss.
Flaps 1.
So the 483, speed was cancelled, contact tower 118780.
Free speed 11878, Lufthansa 483, tschüss.
Sure.
So, flaps 5, and then speed is going down, glide slope capture. Ground altitude 5000 set. Looks like we need a little bit of speed brake here, let's get that out.
Foxtrot Alpha Romeo, squawk 1000.
And then we can call the tower.
Scope 1,000, Fox.
You can see I'm putting my priorities on flying the aircraft here. And then ATC is second in line. Alpha Tower, hello, Lufthansa 483 heavy, ILS 25 left, 25 center inside.
Lufthansa 483, hello.
Air Canada 843 with you. Air Canada 843 with you.
Air Canada 843, stand by.
Okay, so far so good. Checked.
Lufthansa 4, Uniform Lima, line up runway 25 center.
So, flaps 15.
Condor 2 Alpha Lima, request taxi.
First, Lufthansa 9 Papa Charlie, identified contact Langen and 136, 130.
Gear down.
136, 130.
Flaps 20.
Lufthansa 9 Papa Charlie, danke dir, bye bye.
Lufthansa 4, Uniform Lima, wind 290 degrees, 6 knots, runway 25 center, cleared for takeoff.
Keep takeoff to the center, Lufthansa 4 Lima.
And Lufthansa 4, Uniform Lima, no delay.
Okay.
Lufthansa 438, join Lima 4.
So, flaps 30.
Joining Lima for Lufthansa 438.
Lufthansa 4, Tango Romeo, give way to Lufthansa 850 from the right.
Giving way to 350.
He seems rather busy right
12 for
now.
Lima, drive Elbe front section, Lima 5.
Landing checklist.
Lima 5 is possible.
Landing checklist complete.
Condor 12 for Lima, taxi, November 3, Lima 5, 25 center.
Taxi, holding point 25 center via November 3 and Lima 5, Condor 12 for Lima.
Stuart 9er, welcome to Frankfurt, taxi right, Mike 8, hold short of runway 25 center.
Mike 8, hold 07.
So, nicely established here. Perhaps a tiny bit early. The 787 seems to slow down better than I thought.
Lufthansa 80 request startup clearance 10 to Victor 160
Lufthansa 8, Victor Echo, start of approved.
Look at that. Lovely view on Neu-Isenburg down here.
Lufthansa 483, wind 290 degrees, 6 knots, runway 25 left, clear to land.
Runway 25 left, clear to land. Lufthansa 483.
Lufthansa 4, Echo, wind 290 degrees, 6 knots, runway 18, clear for takeoff.
So, the gear is down, the flaps are out, speed brakes on, landing clearance is received. Wonderful. The go-around area may be a little bit turbulent, but I see no proper way around that. So, yeah, not much we can do about that. The key to a good approach in conditions like this is to keep your yoke steady and just do the amount of inputs that are really required. You can see that at the bottom of the screen right now.
From the 48 line,
Checked.
mid 25.
Continue.
Lining up, I assume it's 25 center for Lufthansa 438 heavy.
48 from 9 up, 25 center.
Lufthansa 2 Foxtrot Lima, establish side fest.
The 2 Fox for Lima Tower, hello.
Spoiler, reverse green.
So the 4 Uniform Lima identified, contact departure on 136, decimal 130.
136, bye bye, sorry, from Lima.
And Euro
So,
wing 0,
manual
712, 4
brakes.
kilometers, please contact apron on 121855.
And off we go onto the first exit. Absolutely lovely landing, wasn't it? Beautiful weather, beautiful time of the day.
Euro wing 0712, contact apron 121, decimal 855.
So, give us some taxi instructions, please.
The 8 Victor Echo, contact apron 121.
Oh, come on, don't focus on that handoff.
1.8, thank you.
Lufthansa 483, runway vacated. Come on.
Tower, unfortunately I have to disconnect my...
Oh, this can't be. Do we really have to stop here? Should be number one priority of ATC to get aircraft off the runway after that.
Able for rolling departure?
Affirmative, Lufthansa 438 heavy.
Oh, come
Rolling,
on.
wind 2906, 25 center, clear to takeoff.
2% against the takeoff, Lufthansa.
Now we're blocking the runway because we don't know where to go.
Lufthansa 483, welcome to Frankfurt. Taxi left on Mike 30, Roger 25 center.
Taxi Mike 30, hold short 25 center, Lufthansa 483. We are able for a right-hand turn if it helps. Yeah, you need to answer to that. Oh god, this is annoying.
Number 4 Echo identified, departure on 136.
So in the real world, they would either have told you to vacate the exit that is, you know, a beam Mike 30,
Station calling, stand by, please.
or they would
2 Foxtrot Lima,
just have told us something after vacating the landing.
Left clear to land.
Runway.
And who was calling before?
So see, now he's giving a landing clearance very late to the guy that was inbound behind us because we were blocking the runway. But if he doesn't tell us whether to vacate left or right,
To the 14 Romeo lineup on the 2
we can't really vacate the runway anyway.
25 center, 42 Romeo, sorry.
Speedbird 9 cross, 25 center, taxi ahead.
So that's one
and
of
Roger
the
November.
biggest differences between ATC in the real world and on VATSIM. In the real world, you always get that instruction when vacating.
There is no gate yet. Speedbird 9 cross, runway 25 center, taxi ahead
So
and
that's
hold short of
Mike
November.
28 over here. So the next one is Mike 30.
And hold short of November.
Yes, hold short of November.
Thank you. Lufthansa 438
So,
is
Mike 30
identified,
coming up
departure
on the right-hand
120,
side.
decimal 155, ciao.
Departure 120, decimal 155, Lufthansa 438, vielen Dank, tschüss.
So, nothing coming from the left, and we're clear on the
Gentlemen,
right.
were you interested in visual 25 center?
We could do that, Air Canada.
Yeah, but not at the cost of our
Gentlemen,
crossing
Romeo
clearance,
Roger, there will
please.
be one departure ahead, so final approach speed, cleared visual approach 25 center. In case of mist, climb straight ahead 5, correction 4000.
We'll look up for the departure ahead and final approach speed
cleared visual approach 25 center and cleared climb 4,000 feet. I can understand my code.
4 Tango Romeo, wind 280 degrees, 4 knots, 25 center, clear to direct.
4 Tango Romeo, cleared for takeoff, 25 center.
Okay, hold short. I just hope that we can cross the runway before the other guy gets the landing clearance now. Anything else would be
Whoever was calling
pretty
the 4
stupid.
Alpha clearance, please contact April for that.
So, holding short, looking out for the departure. Park and brake is set though. I have a feeling this is gonna take a while. There he is rolling. Yeah, look at how close the other guy is.
Air Canada 7 Mike Romeo, pre-seeing traffic just airborne, wind 280 at 4, 25 center, clear to land.
25 center, clear to land, Canada 7 Mike Romeo.
Lufthansa 8 Victor Echo Tower, line up, runway 18.
Line up runway 18, Lufthansa 8 Victor Echo.
So, for how long does he need us to
Lufthansa
wait
2
here?
Foxtrot Lima taxi, left on Mike, Mike 30, hold short of 25 center.
Left to Mike 30, 25 center, Lufthansa 2 Foxtrot Lima.
Beeper 9er, contact April 121.855.
11855.
Frankfurt Tower, Google Lufthansa 8 Charlie Foxtrot, stand Victor 169 and requesting startup.
Gleich.
So,
Apron
the other guy has landed.
Tower Lufthansa 225, on block. Schönen Abend noch, ciao, ciao.
Alright. 4 Tango Romeo identified, departure on 120.155.
120-155, schönen Abend.
He is rolling out now. Please vacate that runway so that we can get a taxi clearance. So, he's vacating, you can give us crossing clearance.
Yoke 3 Whiskey, Golf, request, pushback.
3 Whiskey Golf, contact April on 121.855.
Yeah, we'll have to call him in a few moments as well.
Yoke 3 Whiskey, Golf, bis gleich.
From
So
8
let's
Victor
already
Echo, wind
pre-select that.
280 degrees 4 knots, runway 18, clear for takeoff. Lufthansa 43, call 25 center, make a right turn, hold short of November 14.
Lufthansa 483, cross 25 center, right turn, hold short November 14.
Air Canada 7 Mike Romeo, contact April on 121.855, Joe.
121.855 and we have a short pirate for you.
So, brake is released.
Go.
Runway visual range severely worsened around midway on 25 center.
Okay, roger, thanks for the info.
So, hold shot Lima 14, but the question is that one. Yeah, so we can't just about do that. So, this is the moment where he should already give us the apron handoff, so that we don't have to stop. Again, this continuous stopping everywhere. That's one of the biggest things that Watson always gets wrong. Come on, plane, keep rolling. I've already added some thrust here.
Lufthansa 483, April 121.855, Joe.
11855, Lufthansa 483, check.
The 843, runway 25 center via November 5, Lima, hold short of Lima 3.
Frankfurt April, moin, Lufthansa 483, holding short, Lima 14. Even though
First, Canada 843, taxi via November 5, Lima, hold short of Lima 3.
So how am I supposed to hold short here? Like, this doesn't work.
Canada 843, taxi via November 5, Lima, hold short of Lima 3.
Roger, November 5, Lima, Hotel Lima.
So this instruction was nonsense here. Turn right, hold short.
Send Alpha 66 via Lima at November 8.
Alpha 66, Lima, November 8, Lufthansa 483.
Frankfurt April, good evening. KLM 24 Charlie, then Charlie 8, A320. With information Oscar, request IFR clearance.
So I gotta admit, this was one of the not so good ATC encounters here in Frankfurt. Normally they are a lot better. Approach kept us fast for a very long time. Then tower, well, yeah. It was just a couple of mistakes too many.
Mike Romeo at November 5, gefällt to company 777. Thereafter continue to stand Victor 122 via Lima, hold short of November 3.
Follow 787.
Okay, so clear of any runways. Strobe light is off, transponder into
Lima, November 3,
alt only.
Not for you, Lufthansa 2 Foxtrot Lima, stand by.
So then we are going to taxi via November 8, that's basically behind the Lufthansa Technik over there.
Thereafter continue via Lima, hold short of November 3.
At November 5, give way to company left to right, 777. Thereafter continue Victor 122 via Lima, Victor 122 via November 5, hold short of Lima 3, Canada 7 Micro.
Exit via Lima, hold short of November.
Lima, hold short of November.
Fox Lima, hello. Stand Alpha 13 via Lima, hold short of November 5.
So November 8 coming up on the left hand side.
Travel 713 and November, hold short November 5, stand 2 Fox Lima.
Sam via Lima, hold short of November 5.
13, hold short November 5, stand 2 Fox Lima.
Delta Foxtrot gefällt to Lufthansa 320 new, right to left, after taxi to hold in Patron Level 9.
Okay, so off to the left hand side.
Gefällt to company, right to left, thereafter Lima, holding Patron Level 18.
Lufthansa 222 is information Oscar, request Alpha clearance to Hamburg.
222, 81, hello, to Hamburg, Maroon 7 Foxtrot, via Switzerland 5000 feet, squawk 1000.
So then slight turn to the right hand side, off to the left again, and our gate is waiting for us right over there, together with our bed. And that's exactly what we're looking for after a flight like this. 8.5 hours block time, 6:25 AM. Yep, that's the days where you know what you've done.
Whiskey Golf, Roger, taxi November 3, hold short of Lima.
November 3, holding short Lima, Yoke, 3 Whiskey Golf.
Canada 7 question. Canada 7 Mike Romeo, take the next left, November 4, and then taxi via November 4, and November stand Victor 122.
Next left onto November 4, then November...
So we can do 15 knots on the apron, then let's do 15 knots. Here we are.
Wing 0712 request taxi to runway 18.
Wing 0712 taxi
So
via
of course
November
this gentleman here is not waiting for us. Typical Frankfurt airport. At least that is realistic.
Taxi to via
So APU.
Can you say again?
Hold short of November. Hold short before the taxi via November. Hold short of November.
So Alpha 69.
Hold short of November.
Alpha 66, yeah, of course someone parked on it. Lufthansa 483, stand Alpha 66 is blocked.
The 483, Roger, take Alpha 62.
Alpha 62.
Wing 3 Whiskey Golf, gefällt to Canada 777, right to left, thereafter join Lima 5, contact tower 118780.
Gefaded to traffic in
always the same thing, isn't it?
Joining Lima 5 Tower 118780. Danke service. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao. Canada 8 Square 3, contact tower on 118.
Okay, so Alpha 66 is the next one on the left hand side. The lights are off and the weather radars are off.
Delta Foxtrot, contact tower on 118, level 780.
Tower 11878, Lufthansa 8, Charlie Foxtrot.
And here we are. So, with GSX being broken at the moment, we have no guidance system. Can we read anything up here? Not really, huh? Well, doesn't matter, we'll just park somewhere then.
Mike Romeo, confirmation was Victor 1224.
Makes sense.
And stop.
On board,
So, brake set, APU running,
415, pushback and startup.
and shutdown.
Approved, area 2.
Cabin crew, all doors in park.
WinWings 07, hello, continue to hold the final
Lufthansa Alpha, with information Oscar, request IFR 2.
That's a very interesting sound here when the engines are going through this certain RPM range. You hear it both during startup and shutdown. Okay, parking checklist, or shutdown checklist. Park and brake, set, shutdown checklist complete. And look at that, schedule was 4:30, we've got 4:29. And with that, my friends, welcome to Frankfurt Airport. As always, I do hope that you have enjoyed that flight. Be sure to leave your feedback in the comments underneath the video. As always, like, comment and subscribe, and if you really love what I'm doing on this channel, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me a Coffee link in the video description below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'm looking forward to see you all again on the next one.